Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Tuesday, September 12th. I believe we're it's going to be about day 42, I think, in the Big Brother house. We aren't halfway yet. We aren't even halfway yet. So, what is up? A lot is up. There's no way I'm going to be able to include everything that I watched happen last night and yesterday in my little call this morning. It's just not going to happen. I apologize. I actually did tweet a lot of the goings on last night. It was my thing. Last night I just sat and watched the feeds until I went to bed, and I tweeted a ton. So for those of you that do follow me on Twitter, there's a lot there if you go check it out. And even then, I was still missing stuff. So what all went on? Well, first of all, we did have the Power Veto meeting, and as expected, Jared did not use the Power Veto, so it will be either Mimi, or not Mimi. Where am I getting Mimi from? It will be either Felicia or Izzy leaving on Thursday. So that happened. The majority of the action actually took place once Felicia and Suri got separated. They finished their kayak penalty thing from the Power Veto about 6:30, 6:40 last night. That's Big Brother time. It was 9:40 Eastern time. That's when things really kicked off. So they got free of their kayak, and immediately Suri took off with Izzy to the have-not room to have a talk. Felicia took off with, I think, Bowie to the cartoon bedroom to have a talk. They immediately, they just started right away scrambling for votes and everything. It's only Monday. It doesn't matter, but I understand that they had been bound together for 48 hours, and Suri had no chance to talk one-on-one with her people. And there are people that she likes to talk one-on-one with that Felicia can't be privy to, including Izzy and Jared. By the way, I never saw her get one-on-one time with Jared. They got interrupted. Every time they would get close to it, they got interrupted. Although they did, they actually did talk one-on-one with Matt in the room. And they talked quiet. I actually posted a clip of them talking. And they talked quietly enough that Matt couldn't hear them. This is my spin on it. Matt could not hear what they were saying. And they said they'd fill him in later. Now, you need to go watch the clip that I did, which didn't show them saying we'd fill him in later. But just understand that I don't want you to take what I'm saying and run with it like, how dare they do this. There was a bit of me that's kind of like, wow, they're taking advantage of Matt's not being able to hear to be able to have a private conversation in front of him and then telling him we'll fill him in later. It was a bit, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to react to that. What do you do? Is that unfair? Is that taking advantage of his situation? I'm not sure how to look at it either way. But in that conversation, Jared was explaining to Suri that people were really pushing to vote out Izzy because she's seen as a stronger competitor. And he was kind of preparing preparing Suri that they may not have the votes to keep Izzy, which is what Suri wants. Suri wants to keep Izzy. A lot of the other people would rather see. Well, Cameron would like to see Izzy gone, and that's your right there's your difference. Cameron wants Izzy gone. Suri wants Izzy to stay. Cameron's argument, which he's used with several people, and I've heard them reiterate, not that he's the only one thinking it, but Izzy is a much stronger competitor. Felicia is seen as mostly an annoyance, a bit of a wild card, but not a competition threat, even though she won head of household. They're like, it was a Plinko game. It was a total game of chance, and those tend to not be happening later on in the game. That's what Cameron's argument was. It's like, look, we aren't going to have those kind of games later. It's going to be games that you have to be, good, and she's not going to win another game a chance. I don't know about that, but we'll just let it go. I agree with his assessment, or their assessment, that Felicia is not going to win as many competitions as Izzy. Izzy has been very close on a lot of competitions, so that's where that argument stands. All the discussions that happened. I mean, there was lots and lots of one-on-ones and two-on-ones conversations. America and Bowie had a heart-to-heart talk where America was basically telling Bowie, got to get rid of Izzy. I'm not going to tell people that. I'm keeping that, quiet, but that's really where I want to go, and that's, of course, where Bowie wants to go. That's what Cameron is telling Bowie. America's saying she thinks Corey will agree with her. That's the problem, is you have this whole Jag is that mystery in the middle that people still have not figured out that he is working, that he's Cerie's son, and how he's working, and so you tend to get communications leaking to him. Yesterday, America found out through Corey, and this is going to be a bunch of names on a bulletin board kind of thing. America found out through Corey, I think, that something she told Blue got back to Corey, I think, through Izzy. It looped around. Like, America told Blue something, Blue told Izzy something, Izzy told Corey something, and that's how Corey realized that America, first of all, America had said something, but secondly, that Blue didn't keep it private. And so he's like, Blue tells everything you say. We can't tell Blue stuff. And that was what America was like, yeah, we can't tell Blue stuff. And then Blue also pulled America aside at one point and was just saying, I'm voting to keep Izzy. And I don't trust Jag, who Jag in theory is one of her number twos, number ones kind of thing. And America was like, yeah, he's not really. And so at one point last night, again, I'm bouncing all over the place here. At one point last night, America had a one-on-one talk with Jag, where she told Jag, she said, look, a bunch of things. She said, we need to get rid of Izzy. And Blue is not to be trusted. We need to keep her close, but we cannot tell her things because she passes everything back over to Jared. And Jared does not have our best interests at heart, because Jared wants to nominate you and Blue, Jag and Blue, next. And they're saying that they're going to have Cameron would be the back door, but you know how that works. So it's like, you don't want to see the block. And Jared's plan is to put you and Blue on the block at the first opportunity. Jag seemed a bit thunderstruck by some of this stuff, but you know what? He's been told this stuff. He doesn't want to believe it. There's a lot of this going on where they get told things, and America did the same thing. She also told Cameron, by the way, Cameron, you're a target. Jared wanted to target you, and Cameron's like, no, I'm good with Jared. And Cameron and America was saying, no, you're not. He was, Jared was targeting you last week, and yeah, but we've worked through that now, and so he's not now. And she's like, no, he's talking to you because you're head of household. He's targeting you. Cameron doesn't believe it, right? And so, for better or for worse, America's running around warning people and telling people things. I don't know if that's great or not, but it's the truth. And some of these house guests just don't want to hear this stuff. And so that's where the Cerie's got an advantage, because she's got Jared playing both sides. And the other side just still hasn't. They've pieced parts of it together. America seems to be aware that you can't trust Jared, but Jared is playing the old boy, the good old boy, buddy stuff with the guys, and they seem to be willing to buy it, even though, I don't know, I'm just not a fan of Jared's game style. What else? See, I know I'm all over the place here. I'm glancing at my players list, at my house guest list, to see who haven't I talked about. Nicole seems to be in favor of keeping Felicia and getting rid of Izzy. She's talked a little bit, but not a ton. I think Matt is still solidly in camp with Cerie, but he's definitely talking with both sides, and they don't see him. The other side does not see him as solidly with Cerie. They kind of think he's with them, and he's kind of a double agent, so that could end up biting them in the end. What else? I'm glancing here. I talked about Blue already. Blue wants to keep Izzy. She's obviously Team Jared and doing whatever Jared wants. So that won't be a vote. It's like 5 votes to stay this time, right? I think. What is it? Is it 5? Is it 5 with Cameron the tiebreaker? Whatever it is, 5 is the magic number. And let's see, I've talked about Jag, talked about Jared. Yeah, you know what? I know I've missed some stuff because, again, a lot went on last night. Oh, I know. So one of the big meetings last night, I was there waiting for these meetings to happen, say, okay, let's, Suri, who's she going to talk to? I was waiting for her to talk to Jared. She kind of did. Not as much as I thought, because people kept, like I said, coming in, but she did end up having a conversation in front of Matt. But also, she finally went up to she and Felicia, while they were still in their kayaks thing, they get together, the two of them, and they are constantly just talking about, bad mouthing the other people on the other side of the house. Everybody does it, so I'm not singling them out, but they do it a lot, the two of them, and they've been, tethered together for the last 48 hours. So, but when Felicia was head of household, they'd sit up in the head of household room and watch the camera and badmouth everybody down below and say, oh, they're all conspiring. And then when they were downstairs tethered together, like, they're probably up there trying to watch us, thinking we're talking about something, but we're not. It's like, okay, but you thought that you were you thought that they were when you were upstairs. So they were downstairs last night, and they were the only two downstairs or in the vicinity, and they knew a bunch of people were upstairs, and they were like, oh, they're upstairs, and they had a household room. They're conspiring, and they're talking, and we should just go break that up. Just go up and sit there like, hey, we're here. And they just thought this was going to be the biggest thing. And so Izzy helps them, and they get the kayak up the stairs. They get to the top of the stairs, and they walk up. And as it turns out, most of them, nobody was in the head of household room, which they said they thought, they're probably in the head of household room conspiring. It's like, no, they were all just in what I call the loft area. They were just playing bumper pool, playing chess, sitting and talking. And so they were like, oh, hi, and some of them reacted, and some of them didn't react, and that's what's particularly caught Suri's eye, was that Jag did not look at her, and Cameron didn't look at her either. They were both out there. Jag was playing chess. Cameron was sitting back on the back couch on that upper level, and she's like, did you see how they didn't look at me? She retold this story about 5 different times. I heard it, where she's like, we walked up there, and Jag didn't even make eye contact with me, and neither did Cameron. Like, they can't even look at us, and how, boy, they were sure different towards us when the shoe was on the other foot, and yada, yada, yada. So these retells went on. Suri did confront Jag, where Jag kind of hemmed and hawed, like, well, no, I'm sorry, I didn't, she was totally all about how Jag was being disrespectful to her when she was talking to Felicia and probably Izzy. But then she's like, I'm going to confront Jag. And she did confront Jag, and she did kind of say, so what was going on where you weren't even looking at me? He's like, wasn't I? Oh, I didn't know. I was just... And he kind of hemmed and hawed. And again, it was awkward and uncomfortable. But Suri didn't, she knew what she was saying, but I don't know if Jag really could read into it. We all knew what she was going to say going into it, so we could see her doing it. But I don't know if Jag was able to read the room with her and figure out how upset she was with him. So that conversation happened. One other conversation before I get to the Suri Cameron conversation was Izzy and Bowie had a conversation where Izzy was trying to smooth talk Bowie and apologize and bond with her, and she ended up kind of grilling her and just kind of giving her grief, and Izzy was like, I understand that there's beef between us, or you have a problem with me. And she's like, no, not really. She said, but I do kind of feel... The end result was Bowie was saying, I do feel like I was kind of left out of things, and you guys will stop conversations when I walk in the room, and I'm not part of the group, and I'm feeling left out. And Izzy just got really defensive and was like, well, no, that's not it, and that's just what happens. But it was not a good conversation from Izzy's end. When Izzy's trying to win Bowie's vote, she did herself no favors talking with the way that she did to Bowie Jane. So that's an very awkward conversation. Very, yeah, you didn't play that well thing. I don't know if we'll see it on the shows or not. The problem is everything that happened after the Power Veto meeting usually isn't shown until Thursday. There's a 2-hour show tomorrow night. I don't know what they're going to fill it with. Unless they have the Power Veto meeting and they show stuff after that, then they could, because they'll have a ton of material that they could use. So maybe they'll show us the power veto meeting and the aftermath, and then show us a little bit more teasing before the vote on Thursday's show. Finally, the meeting between Cirie and Cameron happened, and again, some people were really fired up about like, oh, this is going to be the moment. And honestly, I was kind of like, hey guys, it really doesn't matter what these two say to each other. They are the tops of their sides of the house, in essence. Cameron more so because he's currently the head of household. Cirie because she is. And so, they're both kind of like staring at each other, and they're saying nice things. And, Cameron's saying, I know you didn't want to, I know you loved Red and this and that, but I was still left out of things. And Izzy has to go. There's no path forward. Cameron said this a couple of times yesterday with different people. He said, there's no path forward between you and me with Izzy still in the house. Like, this is it. He said it again to several people, but he also said it to Cirie. But there's no path forward between Cirie and Cameron. They are not going to work together, no matter what they say. The working together for them is only, well, let's make this work this week while we both get out somebody. One of the things I said last night was, neither of them has an enemy that isn't a friend with the other, right? So there's people around in the middle that are floating around back and forth between both sides, but people that are solidly in Team Cameron, or at least not Team Cirie, or solidly in Team Cirie, they ain't changing their loyalties. It's not happening. They're not going to flip. The ones that are fixed are fixed. So there's nobody out there that the other is going to take away. It's just how it is. They are not going to help each other out. That's no matter what they say. And so it's kind of like, it doesn't really matter what they say to each other, because other than they're treating with each other with respect, which, Cameron was very much like, look, I respect you, I love you, and I'm being honest with you, but Izzy has to go. I know she's your number one. I know you can't, all this kind of stuff, but she's just got to go. And Cirie appreciated Cameron's frankness and all that kind of stuff. So the nice things were said, but in the end, the meeting was what it was. There's nothing that was going to come out of that. They aren't going to bond. They aren't going to form a secret alliance. Even if they said they were, they're both working to get each other out. They know they are two of the top players in the house. So that's where that stands. That is a brief, messy summary of last night. And this is Monday night. We've got Tuesday night and Wednesday night to go through all this again. So I don't know what's going to happen. I agree with first of all, I am basically, and I've said this before, and so there are people, I am not Team Cirie, right? I am Team anybody else, just because I feel she had huge advantages going into the house. I want to see. I want to see the underdogs kind of win, and anybody who's not, been on a reality show 4 times and has a son in the house kind of thing is sort of the underdog. And so I'm kind of rooting for team anybody, but probably Cirie or Jared at this point, just because they both have big advantages. And so that I don't mean to be an anti-them, but that's just the camp I fall in. So for everybody else, Izzy, and I'm not Team Izzy, obviously, but that's because she's aligned herself so strongly with Cirie. I enjoy Izzy. She's like a very nice person, and I've really enjoyed her in the house. But she is locked in on Cirie. As a matter of fact, she's locked in on Cirie to the point where she knows she's not gonna win, and she's probably not. And so between Felicia and Izzy, I would rather see Izzy go, because I think it would be better for the other side of the house. And right now, I don't know. I think they're working that angle. I think they realize that Izzy needs to go this week for them to be, that Felicia is not the same kind of a threat that Izzy is. And it will be interesting to see, if Izzy does go, what happens to that side of the house, because she does do a lot of the legwork for Cirie. And without Izzy in the house, Sari will have to do a lot more work. Jared's a very sloppy player in the way he does his work, and he doesn't always do things the way Sari would like, and so that could cause some additional messes. Which, hey, I'm all about the mess and the drama. That's what I'm about, and this season certainly has been that, right? All right, guys, that's it. Got to go. Long run for me today. Thank you to your support. Thank you to my patrons. Thank you to everybody else that just listens and shares this with anybody else. I mentioned yesterday Sharon having a podcast. It's called The Exclusive. You can just look up Sharon. I think if you search for Sharon The Exclusive on any podcasting app, it's there. I don't remember the name for sure, but I think it's The Exclusive. But if you search for Sharon The Exclusive, you will find a link to her podcast. It's on every podcasting app out there. It is. But I've tweeted it, but just look for it either on Twitter or just Google it. You'll find it. All right. That's it. Gotta go. Talk to you all later. Bye-bye.